Educating students in rural settings is an important part of public education in America. More than half of all school districts and a third of all public schools are in rural areas. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, over 12 million students attend a rural public elementary or secondary school, accounting for 25% of all public school students. Unrecognized by most Americans and often overshadowed by the nation's attention to dropout challenges in urban settings, more than one-fifth of public schools in rural America have higher than average dropout rates. Because of their remote locations and more limited resources, schools in rural communities often have less access to high-quality technical assistance than schools in other communities. For this reason, the U.S. Department of Education's High School Graduation Initiative program provided dropout prevention support and technical assistance to grantees and districts across the country. This video highlights dropout prevention efforts in rural districts and schools in Nebraska. Preparing all students to learn and live productive lives is at the core of Nebraska's educational mission. Ensuring equity of access and opportunity, and that all have respect for individual differences, are at the basis of that mission. To realize these values and to enable all students to successfully engage in their education, the state works to provide students with equal access to appropriate resources, and also with continuous professional development for its educators. Through equity training, engaged programming, and strong community involvement, Nebraska rural schools are successfully implementing dropout prevention strategies.
As the Director of Federal Programs, I work to support students in several different areas that may need more support to meet success in school. The goals of the Lincoln Public Schools are to increase achievement for all students, to close the achievement gap, and to increase our graduation rate. We don't feel like that's the job of only high school teachers and staff members, but throughout pre-K through 21 to work with students. We found that we have the most success at the individual student level. That next step in increasing the graduation rate and helping students to be successful is really tied to building positive relationships with students and providing individual supports on what they need to be successful. We're a very diverse school district. We have students from over 50 countries that attend Lincoln Public Schools, and over 40 languages are spoken. We are a national resettlement area for families who are refugees. Many immigrants come to Lincoln Public Schools. That is something unique about us, and we want to support those students to be successful, as well as all students who are a part of the Lincoln Public Schools.
I oversee the youth development team, and it's a group of 8 dynamic individuals who help support scholars' academic and also life success. So we oftentimes talk about we want them to fulfill their fullest potential. And so those youth advocates serve cultural specific groups. We have 2 student advocates for the African American community. We have 2 student advocates for Native American students called Indian Education, so it's through Title VII. We have 2 transition specialists. I like to say that they primarily focus on scholars that are touched by the juvenile justice system in some way. So those scholars would be maybe transitioning from a boys' or a girls' home, boys' town, have had some contact with the juvenile justice system, so may have been incarcerated, but also some scholars that may not have had success in other districts. And then the other individual we have is a homeless outreach specialist who deals and primarily focuses on scholars that are lacking fixed or adequate housing. So it doesn't always mean that they necessarily don't have a roof over their head, but maybe transitioning from one bed to another or one roof to another during the course of the week or the month. So they don't have a fixed address. We want all our scholars to know that tomorrow's better than today. And so many of the scholars that we work with and the families that we work with, we're focusing on the minute, we're focusing on the day, and we need them to know that tomorrow's going to be better than today. And we need all our scholars to experience some form of success. We know not all of them may get an A in their academic career, but to be able to start out and experience those small moments of success, we like to simulate what those moments of success are like, but it's also you need to be prepared to experience those. And people ask kind of what model do we follow. 40 Developmental Assets from Search Institute would be a basis for that, is it's really pulling out, I don't want to say what's good, but what do you encompass about you that's awesome? So our advocates kind of see things from a unique perspective. They're very creative, but oftentimes we'd say of a scholar's in the office, we say that they're an office assistant instead of saying that they're having some experience or they're struggling, because so it's letting them know inside of them what their true identity is. You're not hearing me use the word student. I use scholar. Whether you're getting a 0.5 or you're getting a 4.0, as long as you're within the realms, in the walls of our school district, and you're eligible to participate, you're a scholar. Now, as a 0.5, you're not necessarily the scholar we want you to be or that you can be, but you're still a scholar. So we're going to see you the same way as we see that person that's a 4.0. But you need to have a place where this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're a part of it. And so whenever you feel that that's your time and you want to walk through those doors, we need to be able to re-engage our scholars, and we need to have staff, and we need to have a district that's able to do that. So our drop-in component is for that, is for individuals to re-engage and to prepare our district, but also collaborate with our community partners to make sure that when a scholar walks through those doors or says, I'm ready, or even shows it in their eyes that they want to be back in school and they recognize this is their time, that we're prepared to support them in any way possible. To kind of sum up our dropout component, there's one thing I could say is, how do we foster those relationships so they know that they're going to be missed when they're not there? And so saying, you know what, you weren't here today, you were missed.
We also have those issues that we have to address. One of the biggest issues is rural poverty, and that aspect of what are those kids that aren't as affluent as others? What are they doing? What are we having to do to make sure that we meet their needs just as much? Within urban, it might deal with poverty with urban poverty, but rural poverty is alive and well, and we have to address that in different ways so that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. And so that's been a challenge, especially even in my 27 years as an educator and 13 years as a principal. We've had to change our mindset just a little bit so that we understand that and help those kids, because you know what? Not everything is equal, unfortunately. They come with different clothes, they come with different needs, and so on and so forth. And so we're hopefully addressing that. But it's been a challenge, but it's one of those things that if you hit it head on and you address it rather than try to ignore it, that's when you're going to make a positive difference.
Pronounced Umaha, means against the current. We service about 350 kids, K through 12. About 98% Native American students here in our school. Most of our students live right here on the reservation. We do have some students that travel from another small town, Walt Hill, Nebraska, which is a part of the Omaha Indian Reservation also. Our school is located in Macy, Nebraska. We're up in the northeast corner of Nebraska, right here on the Missouri River. There are a lot of challenges here, like there are anywhere. Ours are some special challenges. We're dealing with 98% free and reduced here in our school also. So our students come here with a lot of things going on in their lives, but they're probably some of the most resilient kids you'll ever meet in your life. We have a lot of different things that we do with them. It's tough sometimes. Our mobility rate K-12 is 36%, but in high school it's 71%. So basically 71% of our kids in the year 2012 and 13 left Macy, left Omaha Nation School and came back. We have some initiatives, our adolescent literacy initiative, and that has more to do with relationships and also the language that you use with students and the language that you have students use, certain vocabulary, certain way to start sentences, things like that, to kind of help them move forward in their language We also have Umaha language courses here, and I think that helps our kids take a little more pride in who they are and what they're about and where they come from. We've been doing that here for about 15 years. That's our world language requirement. We don't have Spanish or French. We use Umaha as our world language requirement. And that's helped get some interest back in the culture. And it also gives our kids a chance to work one-on-one with some of our tribal elders. We have very few Umaha speakers left. And so we were fortunate enough to have one or two who work here now. And so one of our language speakers, singers, just won one of the National Endowment of the Arts Award and had to go to DC and receive that award, got to have dinner with the president during the award ceremony. So that was great, and it's great recognition for our school and for our staff. I was looking at the senior picture from 11 years ago. We graduated 2 kids. So, and our graduation rate at that time, that year, was right at about 10%. And our graduation rate now is 65%. That's what it was last year. So to get to 65% in 10 years, it's been a climb, but it's been a worthwhile climb. But we have a very proud people here, and parents who really want their kids to be successful, and who help us tremendously in getting their kids here. But there are a lot of other factors that our kids deal with every day that some kids just don't have to deal with. You know, we have kids who have to get their little siblings ready and bring them to school. They also have to get their babies ready. We have a daycare center here in the school that houses we can have up to 6 infants and 8 toddlers. And we have currently 5 students who have kids in our daycare. And so that helps too with the dropout rate. You know, our kids can come and they can go to school, and their kids are within walking distance through the school. They're right here in the building. And every student who is expecting, boy or girl, who's expecting or has a child has to take parenting for the rest of the time they're here. So if they have a baby as a freshman, they have to take parenting every year, and it progresses through the years. But we want to teach them how to be good parents, how to make sure their kids have the proper nutrition and all those things. But the main thing we want to do is we want to keep them off the streets and have them somewhere safe for them to take their child, so they don't have to worry, so they can complete school. And that has really helped with the graduation rate also. We used to have mothers who would have children, or fathers who would have children, and they would just assume the only thing they could do is just quit. And now they know they can come to school and their child will be taken care of while they're in school. And at lunchtime, they can eat their lunch and they can go read to their child and feed their child and things like that. So that has really helped with the dropout rate also. We're getting our parents involved. We have a community night, and this is a part of our community night tonight. We're having parent-teacher conferences, but our community night is one Wednesday a month. We invite the entire community into the school. We have something educational going on the whole time. We'll take them in and show them how we use the Mimeo. We show the parents how to get on the parent portal and look at their kids' grades and assignments and things like that. We also feed them, because in the Umaha culture, as well as other cultures, food is a big thing. We also are a part of a program called Project Search, in which our seniors who are on IEPs are allowed to go up to Sioux City and work at Mercy Medical. We have a certified teacher from our school who's up there with them, our school, Winnebago and Walt Hill. And so those students get to work in the emergency room, they get to work in the cafeteria. We had a student last year who worked in the morgue. The main thing is our kids get off the reservation every day. And this is every day, this is not once a week. They leave here, they meet in Winnebago, they drive up to Sioux City, and they're in Sioux City every day. Go to class for 3 hours and they work for 3 hours. And it's been fantastic, great experience. They've been featured in the local newspapers, they've been featured on the local news in Sioux City. The governor of Nebraska has recognized the program. Some kids really want to go to school, but they really want to get that work experience, you know, something exciting, something to look forward to. We have a student, we couldn't get her to come to school last year. Her attendance was about at 60%. And now her attendance is at 90%, because she's getting a chance to go up there and work in the hospital, and she sees a future in that, and that's been a great way to get our kids excited about school and excited about being here.
There were only 2 perpendiculars, we said half the weight. But if I had 3, what would have I done with the weight? Okay, it would have been third. Now, here's the thing though, like you said,
flipped classroom, what I do is I video all of my my traditional lectures, and then I send it to the kids through a Google form, and there's some questions, prompts along the way that I ask them that I want them to answer, so I can find areas that they maybe didn't completely understand. But again, they're videos on YouTube that, again, the students find and watch, and like I said, it's my traditional lecture. And then the thing is, when they come to class the next day, what they're doing is I go through kind of some summary type stuff, again, seeing if there's any problems, and then I give them their homework. And instead of them being at home confused on how to do homework, they're in my room confused, which I consider a good thing because then they have actually access to me. Last year was my first year of actually doing the flipped classroom. And with it being the last year, I started on that first day of school in August, and I went clear through to the end in May.
And I liked it. It kind of gave you an opportunity to go back and listen to what the teacher said again and again. If it doesn't sink in, you can just replay it, pause it, take time to think about it, write down whatever notes you need to, and then just continue on. So that's really nice.
To me, the big advantage was that I could ask questions in the classroom rather than wait until after class and have to stay afterwards. It gave me a good opportunity to be able to ask during class whatever came to my mind. I could just raise my hand and he would be there to ask. So I do like the flipped classroom. I think it is a lot more helpful with questions and to be able to learn on a higher level.
You said Texas is your home base? Is that where you said Texas?
I'm out of Texas, Corpus Christi, close to Corpus Christi.
We had a lot of teachers, a large number that wanted to work with technology, and there were some that were a little bit apprehensive when we first started the project. We focused a lot on professional development and gave them time to work with the computers and how it could go in their things they could do in their classroom. Some went out to other schools, but really, if you had 2, 3, 4 teachers that were really good at it and really took off with it, and we did that.
Well, the great thing, we have a superintendent that is very proactive. He understands that we can't get behind in that area. So at the high school, it's a one-to-one initiative. I have a son that goes through here. I have another daughter that'll go through pretty soon. And so they're constantly given the opportunities that bigger districts would have. At our elementary, we say the same thing. We don't let them take the computers home, but we have a one-to-one initiative in our 5th and 6th grade. But we also have lots of technology through a lab, through iPads, and through some other things that we use all the way in preschool, all the way up to 4th grade. In fact, my preschool, our 3-year-old program, we just recently bought 4 or 5 iPads that those kids can use right there. So we're putting the technology in their hands, but using it a little bit different than what the high school does.
The popularity or the rise in STEM education, and we had a local business that said that we'd provide the funds for some of the equipment. So we had the equipment donated, and that's one that seems to be working well. It's just been about 9 weeks now that the program's started, but we definitely would like to expand on that. If we start it with the robotics, and we have a Science Olympiad class that Mr. Solomon teaches, that we might be able to work in there too. And some of that goes along with we're working on just career readiness and some of the career education through the state of Nebraska. We had a number of years ago, a teacher wanted to start a digital photography class, and a number of kids that took it the first year, but this popularity was just kind of word of mouth, and added video editing, and then, hey, maybe we could do a news program once a week, and it kind of took off from there. Kids are, they like it. It's very hands-on, and they enjoy working with it.
I have been taking multimedia classes in the Apley lab since I was a freshman, actually probably 8th grade, and my teachers have really helped me to realize what I can do with the programs and the software and the computers, and I just love it. I would say that my English teacher, she's my English multimedia, I TA for her. Her name's Mrs. Lonick, Stephanie Lonick, and she's really helped me out with everything and made me realize what I want to do. I didn't realize until recently, but she really helped me to understand what I want to do with my life.
With the video editing, what we do in there is they learn Adobe Premiere Pro, they learn Adobe After Effects so they can make the cool titles, 3D blow-up titles if they want, and they kind of like watch YouTube videos on what people are doing and see if they can replicate it. And then we just take our football coverage and splice it up into highlights, and they put together a final highlight film. For my news team, they're doing the Premiere Pro, but also creating the content and figuring out what's important at the school. We do it every Friday. It's a weekly thing, so it's like updates on what's going on at school, what's going on with athletics, what's going on in this person's classroom, and interviewing people. And so not only are they editing in the back end of it, they're also public speaking.
The Oregon Trail sets around here, and also we're on the Little Blue River, so both of those intersect a little bit, and it's really a beautiful community that has a lot to offer, from bowling to golf to a lot of recreational, and we just recently renovated our theater. And that's really a community effort where we've raised about $150,000 to $175,000 for that. So one thing we pride ourselves here in Hebron and in the area is that, you know, we pretty much look after each other, but it's just really a hidden gem, I think.
For me, like, if I've already explained it,
yeah.
I think a lot of the people that teach here just like smaller community and smaller class sizes and just the kids and their backgrounds.
We have great students here at Thayer Central. We also have great parents, and a lot of times the parents in some communities will believe that the school sets by themselves, they're supposed to educate my child, but I don't get involved. And we have, when I became the principal 13 years ago, I really had a focus of saying, I want to bring our parents in away from just the school setting, but to do different activities. And so each month we have what we call a family night event. This last month we had reading night where we had about 150 individuals come in, and we focused on our theme this year, which was on camping. We also do such events as a math night, but we'll also involve our community with the theater. We'll have a movie night, we'll have a bowling night, and then we always have a wellness night because that is one of our key focuses over there. But it's amazing. Parents want to do things with their kids. They really enjoy it, and we get rave reviews on it. So it's really been a lot of positive for our community and our school.
But certainly we try to build that camaraderie in the school too, to where they want to be involved and want to work together and want to see their school be successful and want to be successful themselves in competing as a teammate.